Matthew is a one-time congressional aide. He's a well-known speechwriter. He's a man, in fact, who's been so close to power for so long that he has a unique perspective on failure and success that, in fact, could be a real eye-opener.
What I'm about, what I'm talking to you, this transformation I'm going to talk to you about here and help you with, hopefully with these habits, is to close the gap. We're not going to achieve perfection, but close the gap. Close the gap between your performance and your potential. Self-reflection, awareness, recognition of what it is that might be holding you back from achieving your potential and transforming. There may be some things that stand in your way from actually changing and doing something different. I'm going to suggest to you that these habits, or these warning signs, if you want to call them that, of failure might be the things that could keep you from transforming. Thomas Edison said failure was an opportunity to begin again more intelligently. So that's the kind of attitude we should have about failure, not the attitude of a TV cartoon character named Homer Simpson. His attitude toward failure is, he tells his son Bart, "Trying is the first step toward failure." So he's so afraid of failure, and maybe so accustomed to it, that he doesn't even try, and he wants to pass it on to future generations of Simpsons. Here's how I define failure: falling short of your potential. These apply to the community, to the nation, to the world. All of these habits you can see happening in the world, these failure habits are happening in the world right now. We need to change these things. So that's part of my mission. That's part of what gets me excited to get up and talk to audiences about this. We can actually transform individuals, organizations, communities, and hopefully the world. There's 7 habits of failure. I just happened to create an acronym, the word failure. And the same with success. They're equal but opposite habits. So you can change one, and I have a whole system of which you have what I call the 3 R's. Recognize, reject, and replace. So finger pointing, you got to stop that. You got to stop making excuses, and you want to recognize, reject it, and replace it with the S in success, which is shoulder responsibility. Shouldering responsibility puts you in charge. Finger pointing takes away your power. One example that really comes to my mind, very powerful example, also a Vietnam veteran, Max Cleland, triple amputee from Vietnam. He could have spent his whole life being bitter about this experience. Instead, he went into public service. He became a senator, became head of the VA. He decided to channel a very bad situation into something very positive, and he shouldered that responsibility. Idle talk, no action. A lot of people talk a great game. A lot of people say they're going to do this, they're going to do that. I talked about this book, HabitForce, for a long time. And I'm almost embarrassed to say that it wasn't until I made a promise to my mother before she passed away that I actually got motivated to finish the book. And I told her I would dedicate it to her. And I did. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that I got the book finished and I was able to dedicate it to my mother. And her face lit up. She was quite sick at the time. And she knew I was going to get it done. And sometimes, if you want to get something done, if you think you're doing idle talk and no action, make a promise to somebody. Seriously, make a promise to someone you care about that you're going to do it. And if it's your mother, failure is not an option. Lack of passion is a failure habit. You know, people sort of get into this, they think something's going to happen to maybe get them excited. What are they waiting for? Is this a dress rehearsal? Life? No, this is the real deal right now. So let's, lack of passion, there's no excuse for that. We've got a great opportunity here to be alive and to do things, to make a difference. And people are go around watching the clock, you know. You want to recognize, you want to reject it, and you want to replace it with the C. The second C in success is cultivate enthusiasm. It's an active thing. Cultivate enthusiasm. Emerson said nothing great was ever accomplished without enthusiasm. Cultivating enthusiasm helps to reinforce taking action, helps to reinforce, you know, uniting with eagles, helps to reinforce shouldering response. All these things reinforce each other, and you get farther and farther away from the negative side. That's the shift that's going on. So now there it is. I mean, you've got basically the structure. The failure habits, the equal but opposite success habits. You have the power to set that agenda for yourself. You have the power of controlling and changing your thoughts, making a difference in the world. You can do these things. HabitForce, as I call the book, HabitForce can work for you or it can work against you. And you have the choice to make it work for you and your organizations and your communities. You can spread those ripples out as far as you want to. Earl Nightingale, who wrote a book called The Strangest Secret. He said all of it, all the success secrets that he's found over the years came down to one sentence. And he distilled it for his audience at the time, and I'm going to share it with you. Here it is. You might want to write this down. We become what we think about. Let me just end with a blessing to all of you. And it's a blessing that you might recognize from the Star Wars movies. I'll try the voice. As Yoda would say, may the HabitForce be with you. Thank you.